Hello there, welcome back to my channel and welcome to this monumental video. Why is it so big? Because as many of you know, I have been testing out so many hairsprays trying to find the best replacement for the Aussie Instant Freeze Hairspray. Some of you might wonder why? Why would I need to replace this? If you haven't seen the video, I'll link it down below, but in summary, Aussie changed the formula. This is the old can that has alcohol denat as the first ingredient. The new formulation, I guess they thought we would be crazy enough to think that water as a first ingredient makes sense to put in an instant freeze hairspray. No, and there is not enough chemicals in the world to combine with that much water to make it instantly freeze on your hair. So I have received so many comments on that video and so many of you upset as I was with the change in formulation. I know a number of you contacted the company and some had great experience there, some didn't, but today I am finally happy to say that I have found 5 really great options for you. So if you've been one of those wondering which one is it, Shirley? Which one in your opinion is the best? Stick around and you'll find out. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. Now let's get started. All right, now before we jump into the 5 finalists, I wanted to give mention to a couple of other hairsprays that I have tried. I'm not doing a dedicated video on them because they ranked either somewhere in the middle or way down on the list for me. So the first one of you had recommended the Schwarzkopf, I never say that correctly, the Silhouette Pure Formula Invisible Hold. It was just medium hold, didn't like the smell, and oh my goodness, I've got a lot of that product to figure out what to do with. The next one was the Professional Sebastian Shaper. This is the Hold and Control Hairspray. Another one that is just kind of mediocre. It's okay, didn't love it. And then so many of you have said, please try the John Frieda Frizz Ease Hairspray. Maybe this is better suited if you have finer hair, and I'll talk about hair texture and all that in a moment. But for me, this is such a flexible hold. It says it's a firm hold. I'll spray it on, and as long as I don't move and don't walk out in any wind or anything, it'll be okay. But if I just touch my hair, it's like it's almost instantly gone. So maybe as a finishing hairspray, after I've already locked in the style, maybe the key is more the frizz if you have frizz in your hair. But for me, this was not a win. And then this hairspray is not bad. It's just, again, just a medium hold for me. This is the Better Not Younger Wake Up Call High Hold Thickening Hairspray. So this really does give some lift to the hair. It's not a freeze it hairspray. So with that, what my roundup here is intended to do is to give you the best option to this formula. So I was using this formula as my gauge to give you the top 5. Now, if you're not somebody who likes instant freeze, lock it kind of hairspray, then I can understand maybe why some of those others might be your favorite. But this was the gauge, this was the bar that I had used to test all of these other hairsprays. Now, with that, I feel like hairspray is a very personal preference, and also your hair type can determine whether you like something or not. So it's kind of like mascara. We all have our preferences of a wet or dry formula mascara, or a mascara that's slightly clumpy, or no, we just want length. Same thing with hairspray. So just keep that in mind, and as I describe each one of these to you, maybe one is going to be your top favorite and maybe it was my 5th favorite. So I just wanted to give that little bit of a qualifier so that you kind of knew what I was looking for, what I'm looking for. So the characteristics that I love about this hairspray were fast drying and really good lock it in styling. I also felt like the sprayer on this kind of distributed the right amount of product, so you didn't have to use a lot of product to get your hair to hold. It held well through wind, through humidity. I don't know. I just felt like this was a great all around freeze it, hold all day kind of styling product. And of course, we all loved the, I think it ended up being around $4 to $5 price tag. With that being said, I'm going to give you now my 2 runner-ups to the top 5. The first one is one that I recently talked about, and it is the generic version of the Kenra Volume Spray. This I feel like it's better than the Kenra 25 or 30. I know some of you were giving me a hard time in that video saying, oh, you didn't spray the Kenra 25 on the hair, it missed it. Keep in mind, when I do those side-by-side videos, that's not the only time I've ever tried that hairspray. So that was just kind of my attempt to give you side-by-side comparisons. But this one is actually a really good hairspray. The price point is really great, especially if you can get it on sale. This is found at Sally's Beauty Supply, either online or in store. And again, it's the generic version of the Kenra, and yet I feel like it has a really good hold. And the scent on it is pretty good. It's not as good as the Kenra scent, but the hold, the scent, the price, I feel like this is a really good option. I don't feel like it has quite as much freeze and hold as some of the others, but it is still a good option. The other runner-up is the Salon Graphics Hairspray. This is the Mega Hold Freezing Hairspray. So one thing I love about this is the price point. Again, super affordable. You can get this usually through Walmart. I hate the scent. The scent on this is like old school hairspray. It's really nauseous, but it does have a really nice dry formula. And in fact, I think the first 5 or so ingredients are exactly the same as in the old formula of Aussie. So it has really good hold. It's a slightly drier spray, believe it or not, than any of the others I'm talking about, even than the Aussie. So I feel like I have to spray more and maybe even use more product to eventually get that hold, but it does dry super fast on the hair and it does give really good hold through the day. All right, we're gonna get into now the top 5. And first I'm gonna show you a side-by-side demo next to Aussie Instant Freeze Hairspray. I'm using all 5 of these. I'm not gonna share with you the order of my ranking just yet, but I want to insert this clip here and walk you through kind of what I did. And I do a kind of humidity test with some water, and then I also do a blow drying test just to kind of mimic wind. And then I will finish up by telling you which one is number 5 and which one is number 1. I'm going to start off by clipping the back portion of my hair where it naturally spikes because I really want to give these hairsprays a good test. I also have no root boost or any styling products in my hair yet. So this first section is the Aussie Instant Freeze Hairspray. I gave it a couple of sprays. I'm holding it for a few seconds, and then I'm going to leave a section of hair in between each test section just to try and avoid any overspray or overlap between hairsprays. Next up is the Bedhead Hardhead Mega Hold Hairspray. Again, a couple of spritzes, and then I will hold it until I feel like it's nearly dry. I'm going to fan it. And then I decided to go back and do a second layer for every section. So going back to the Aussie Instant Freeze Hairspray. And with the second section, I do have to hold it for a couple of extra seconds. Going back to now, I'm going to skip the bed head because I feel like that's holding pretty well for the moment. And we're going to go next to the Freeze It Original Freeze Hairspray and doing a couple of sprays there. Now, I feel like each can and each sprayer is slightly different, and this Freeze It one, I feel like more product sprays out, so it does take just a hint longer if you get too much on your hair. So that's why I'm fanning it a little extra hard just to make sure that it is fully dry. Now, the bed head section in the center, I did not actually do a second layer, just keep that in mind. I'm going to now clip this middle section away so that we can focus on the front section, again trying to avoid overlap. Next up is the Chi Helmet Head Hairspray, and I'm trying to again try and get about the same amount of hair, and this one I also feel like sprays out quite a bit of product even in a short burst. So I felt like I needed to hold it just a couple seconds and wait just a little longer for it to dry. If you're doing your whole hair, this isn't going to be as much of an issue, but these small sections, it's kind of hard to just get the perfect amount of product on each section. So did a second layer on that one, then I'm leaving this center section without any product, and now we're going to go in with the Calista Embellish hairspray. And again, just a couple of spritzes held for a couple of seconds. And this one gives a straight up spike right there, right off the bat. And this one actually dries fairly quickly. Then I'm going to go ahead and do just an extra little spray on that one just to make sure. Again, all of these have 2 layers except for the bed head. And then the last one is the Paul Mitchell Awapuhi Wild Ginger Hairspray. Again, 2 spritzes there, 2 or 3 or so. And then fanning. I have that one section that's kind of wanting to keep falling forward. So I will give it another second layer there and hold it for a few seconds and then wait for it to dry. So I feel like this one probably takes just a little bit longer to dry than some of the others, but here we go. Isn't this a great look? Okay, to mimic humidity, I spritzed a very fine mist of water over my hair, and I did it again, and really overall everything still has some hold. I feel like possibly the Paul Mitchell Awapuhi probably fell a little bit more than some of the others, but again, this isn't a perfect test, but I just thought it would be fun. Next, I'm pulling out my hair dryer. Next, I'm pulling out my Zuvi hair dryer and mimicking how wind would affect each of these hairsprays. So I went forwards, backwards. I'm using kind of warm air, and you can see they all still have some lift. That Calista is really hanging in there. So this is the Aussie Instant Freeze Hairspray section. And then next up is the bed head, and that is still actually holding pretty strong. And again, just 1 layer there. And as I am kind of showing you each section, I'm gently kind of combing through just to see how much product is still there, and I can feel product in each one of these. I would say this section, the Chi section, I still had quite a lot of product there. And next is the Calista, and boy, that is still hanging in there. I did feel like this one, I could still feel quite a bit in my hair. And then last was the Awapuhi. And this one was probably the weakest as far as how much I felt like was still in the hair, how much lift, but there's still some body there. And again, I'm going down kind of to the root of the hair now. And then I'm going to go ahead and pull out my hair dryer and just kind of work out most of that hairspray and then see if we still have any body in any of those sections. And indeed, we still do. Even after I ran my fingernails through the scalp of my hair, each one of the hairsprays combed out really well, but yet there's still a lot of body in the hair. Okay, after watching that demo, you can see that in general, all 5 of these performed very similarly to the Aussie Instant Freeze Hairspray. And while it was a little difficult, you know, my hair has all different cowlicks, and depending on what section I'm using, I think overall you could see they all dried fairly quickly. They held the hair even through the mist of humidity that I tried to mimic and the wind from my blow dryer. So all of them really do have some great qualities. Now, one final thing before I tell you my ranking of those 5 hairsprays is that after I tried out these hairsprays in previous videos, I have heard feedback from 1 or more of you all that have said that each one of these hairsprays has become your favorite. So every single one of these top 5 has a new fan base out there. So this isn't just my opinion, it's also based on the feedback that I have received from you all. So every single one of these, I have heard comments like, oh my goodness, thank you, I found my new favorite hairspray. So now let's get into the actual ranking of these top 5. All right, let's start with number 5. Number 5 on the list is the Paul Mitchell Awapuhi Wild Ginger. This is the finishing spray, firm hold, natural finish. And I do really like this. I love the ingredients. If you're somebody who is really trying to go with very natural ingredients, this is probably going to be your favorite. This does give really good hold. The scent on it, it's slightly masculine just because it has kind of more of that spicy scent, but it's not obnoxiously so. And I do love ginger. I love the scent of it. I love it in cookies. And so I do get that hint of it, and I think that's why it makes it tolerable. But it is a little higher on the price tag, but I do feel like this performs well, and again, has really good ingredients and good hold, but the kind of really extreme style hold is not quite there with this one, but very close. All right, number 4, and I would say 2 through 4 were kind of hard. I felt like they almost kind of could be mixed up and they could all kind of take each other's place. But we're gonna say number 4 is the Callista Embellish Finishing Spray. I do love the scent on this. I think it sprays really well. You could see it really locked in the front part of my hair. I think this has great hold, and it does comb out pretty well. I think I felt this one a little more in my hair afterwards, but it does work well. You could easily do second day hair with this, but I feel like this is a really great one. It is, again, a little higher on the price point, and a little harder to get. You can find it on Amazon or QVC, but this is another great option. This is actually a water-free formula, so that is another reason why I think this just really does lock in style really well. All right, number 3, we finally have a very affordable option, and for me, this beat out Salon Graphics. I did try this next to Salon Graphics, but it is the Freeze It. This is the original formula. Now, I've had some of you give me mixed views on the Mega Freeze It version of this. Some of you say that works even better. Some of you say the scent on that is horrible. But I feel like the scent on this, at least the can that I have, is actually really good. It has kind of like a little bit of a slightly fruity-ish scent, but this really freezes, and this has humidity resistance. I have used this in the past, like many years ago, in the Florida humidity, and I know that it really works well. I've heard from several of you that use this in really humid climates, and you swear by it. I love the price point on this. Again, you can find it through Walmart or on walmart.com, and it's around $10 or less, but I think this is a fantastic option. Now, what's also great about this one is it does add a little bit of shine to your hair. It has UV protection, and it has optical brighteners is what it says on it. So I feel like this is just a really good all around. It freezes the hair, it gives it a little shine, it has that humidity resistance and the UV protection, and it comes at a really great price point. So this is another really great option. Number 2, this is actually the one I used today because I wanted to just kind of refamiliarize myself with it and decide. By the way, I've gone through all of my top 5 several times again just to make sure, but I wanted to use it again today just to see if it fell at number 3 or 4, and I feel like this is a really great one, and it is the Chi Helmet Head. This is what I've used on my hair today, and I said this in the original video when I tried it. Helmet head can sound very off-putting. Don't let that scare you. My hair does not feel like helmet head, but I feel like I can move it. See, I can like run my fingers through it, and it's still there. The hair is still separated, and this smells so good. Again, has more of that sweet fruity smell. I love the sprayer on this. I think it's really easy to control. Now, this is the travel size. Another great perk about this one and my number 1, they do come in travel size. So you can lock this in place, throw it in your suitcase, and it's less than 3 ounces. So you can take this freely on the plane with you. So number 2, I'm saying, is the Chi Helmet Head. Now, a tip for this one and my number 1 is you can check Marshall's, TJ Maxx. They a lot of times will have the full size of this for like half the regular price. So sometimes you can find these for around $10. So same price as some of the drugstore ones. So number 2, Chi helmet head. And now drum roll please, number 1, if any of you have watched any of my hair tutorials recently or in the past, you've probably gone through the list of hairsprays and said, which one hasn't she talked about yet? And it is the bed head, hard head, extreme hold hairspray. I still love this. And I think that this is the closest in performance, in feel on the hair, the way that it combs out, the way that it does second, third day hair. I feel like this is, to me, the most similar to the Aussie Instant Freeze. And some of you have reported back to me that you feel like this is even better than the Aussie. And I think I have to agree with you. This also comes in a travel size. So this is what I'm taking on my vacation. I absolutely love it. Highly recommend. And again, this is one you can also sometimes find at Marshall's or TJ Maxx and find it at half price. Now, Ulta many times has these hair products on sale, including this. I have seen this for half price on there, so keep your eyes out for that. So I hope that you found this video and all of the previous hairspray testing videos helpful. If you have been frustrated by the formula change, and I know there are literally thousands of you that are just as frustrated as I am, hopefully one of these hairsprays can become your new holy grail hairspray until Aussie sees the light, if they ever do. But thank you so much for watching. Again, check the description box down below for links and a list of everything I showed you today, and I'll see you next time. Bye.